Welcome to a new project. It's called Mousetrap, and as you can see, mouse hanging out. But the humans have been placing traps again. I wonder what they're up to. Based on the board game Mousetrap, in this episode we're going to build the traps, as well as work on the coaster station and the first section of the roller coaster. We'll be making some really cute scenes and work a lot with the animation pieces. So without further ado, join me in this episode of Mousetrap. Poor mouse. So stupid. Right, the first thing that I was going to do, obviously place down the coaster, and I thought I was going to use the new feature since the last update. We can now have an onload and offload station, so I wanted to use that, have an onload station on the left and an offload station on the right. Very easy. Then I was going to play around with some pathing, but then I gave up because it was too tricky and I didn't know what the layout was gonna be of the queue and the exit. So I placed down some rocks. The whole idea was first to have the station obviously being on the ground, a little mouse nest, and then everything above there is where the traps are going to be. So it looks like this. So far it looks like that. And then I'm going to put down some wall sections. I didn't want it to be just rock because the mice live in this area. I thought I'd give them some nice walls. And then a little hole in which the cart goes from the exit to for the getting off the coaster to getting on the coaster. Exit station and entry station, I mean. So it's very small on the exit one because there's no one in there, and it's a lot bigger on the entry station. So obviously when guests are in there, they don't decapitate themselves. You know what I mean? I later on replaced this by a functioning door. This is what it looks like now. Then these yellow walls that I built, one of them I got a copy and just dragged it on and put it onto the exit station. So it goes from there into the entry station. And then also I put down some flooring because I wanted to create some room to put down some scenery and theme these stations nicely. Sunk in some rocks in the wall because I didn't want to be just a wooden wall. You're still on the ground, so the whole idea is that it looks like you're on the ground. Put down another piece of floor and then also sunk in some rocks so that it all blends in well together. So after a little bit here, a little bit there, this is what it ended up looking like. Then it was time to build some mice. I needed to get an idea of how big I had to make my ceiling and all that sort of stuff. Also because guests have a certain height and I want my mice to be a specific height as well. So I played around it a little bit with the size of the body. And also this is my first attempt of basic shape arts in Planet Coaster 2. I think it worked out quite well. I ended up changing the mouse, but this is what it looks like for now. Hello, I have 4 paws. There we go. Then I also had to make a running type of mouse. So instead of having it sitting up straight, one of them needed to look like it was running around, like this one. So I played around a little bit. And this is the end result of the 2 mouse models. Quite happy with them. They look pretty good. Then I decided to make some props. And the first prop I was going to make was quite an obvious one. Piece of cheese. But not quite sure how to make this piece of cheese. Not quite happy with this. So I might change it later on. But I spent some time building all sorts of different props. So yeah, here's what it looks like. I then wanted to make a trick track. And a trick track is really just a remade of the track and then merged together as a grouped scenery. And then when you have that, it looks exactly like the track from the roller coaster that you're building. And if you do that, you can attach it to moving objects, and then you can build tracks that move around, like rotating and all that sort of stuff. So you can trick the roller coaster of going one way, but in all reality, it's just going a different way. For instance, if this coaster were to approach a hole in the ground, I can cover the ground with dirt or stones or something, and then add these trick tracks on top of that. So when the coaster approaches the hole, I can trigger a sequence where the trick track moves away and all of a sudden the coaster drops through the ground. And that's kind of the idea that I was going for here. I'm literally rebuilding the track, but then we're using these different pieces. So this is what the trick track looks like for the wooden Wild Mouse coaster. I then obviously also had to make an actual physical mouse trap, like the way we humans used to catch a kill mouse. You know, your classic snap trap. So I'm building one here, and what I've done here is literally pulled up a picture of a mouse trap, zoomed it in, and I'm literally rebuilding that. But I wanted it to be functional, which means that it was going to have moving pieces. And so here I'm building something that looks like a spring. You know, it's all coil based, a mouse trap. And then this is the balance, so it doesn't uncoil or unfold itself. This is actually how a mouse trap works. And then here you've got the triggering system that I'm building here. So it's pretty much a little piece of wire that keeps the spring in place, and that gets hooked onto a little hook at the end. So the moment the mice steps on it, the little piece of wire unfolds or opens up, and then the trap goes. And this is me adding in the moving part. The little tiny piece of wire that lays on top of the moving part is what keeps it in place. And if the mouse steps on the little wire that pokes out on the left, the wire gets stripped and then it will go. So yeah, that's kind of how a mouse trap works. I don't know if that was a very good explanation, but yeah, I found that piece that was really good to keeping it in place. And then I need a little making a little stepping platform for the mouse to stand on to trigger the whole thing. So this is what it looks like. And it works as well, as you can see. I couldn't get it to snap closed faster, but quite happy with this. Then I just generally place down some props that I will probably be using, such as hay, and I thought these were good mouse beds. So it looks pretty funny. Like, once the mouse are in, it will look so much better. Then I made some piles of seeds, and I thought if you turn them black, they will look like mouse droppings. And then I filled a bucket full with seeds. So these are just the apples that are green. If you copy them and make them slightly brown, it just looks like seeds that mice really like. And then I also wanted to make an apple core, which was a pain in the ass, but it looked alright. Then I wanted to make a box of rat poison, or mouse poison, rat poison. I think generally they call it rat poison. It was quite a clunky box, and I made it way too big. But I'm not quite sure if I'm even going to use it. I just thought it would be a fun idea to have a packet of rat poison here, so that I could use the poison to, you know, make more traps and stuff like that. So This is what it must feel like to be a product designer. I'm literally building a cardboard box with a red cross through a mouse, and then some text on it, and hopefully it will sell well in the supermarket. I highly doubt it, but who knows. It's red poison, as you can see, and I had a cool idea of adding some blue red poison pellets. This is what the poison looks like. Obviously to the side as well. And I added Retus Deletus. I thought just a comedy twist on red poison. And a little boring head thingy with jiggers. So this is what it looks like. And then apparently I was talking to Miss Book, and she said I should make a matchbox. Apparently that's associated with mice or something like that. I guess mice could sleep in it. But I thought it was a good idea. And here's a perfect example of work smarter, not harder. I'm literally copying this, rotating it, and shoving it back on the inside. And you've got a matchbox. Don't have to do anything else. It's actually really easy. Then to put those like striking areas. Normally they are reddish, and they have a little roster on it. But I couldn't think of anything how to make that roster, and I was surely not going to make it using basic shapes. But I came up with a really good idea, which you'll see in a bit. I just want to show you how I make a full basic shape piece of art like this matchbox from start to end. It is actually really easy, and it's done in literally like 15 seconds. So I thought I theme it a little bit with my own logo. So it's called Boogie's Matches. And then I put a little sign on. Here you see those chain link fences. If you sink them in a little bit, they look exactly like a roster that you strike on. So pretty cool. Then I had to make the actual matches. So I'm just using pieces of wood and some basic shapes. Obviously it's 2D here, so I'm using the small piece. I'm copying that to making another match. And adding a little sign underneath. It's lit. But I changed it later on to let's get lit, because it's funny. So these are the matches. And then all I do is I replace the piece with a 3D piece. Like this one. So now you've got 3D matches. Alright, here's a tour of all the props. This is the piece of cheese. Here we have the apple core. It also gives you a rough idea of size. This is the mouse. I edited the nose a little bit more. Mouse droppings. That's the red poison. Retus Deletus. The pellets are blue, so that's the poison. These are the beds, and some hay bales, and some seeds. And this is the trick piece. So I'm gonna use that to make trick tracks and stuff. And then this is the animated mouse trap. I'm very happy with the way that turned out. And this is the matchbox. And that's it. The next thing on my to-do list was surrounding the pathing area with rocks and cornering of the areas that I wanted to be underground and the areas that I wanted to be above ground. I had an idea of making a rat's nest. Obviously that's where we spawn, and that's where we get on, that's where we get onto the roller coaster. So we have to go enter the rat's nest in the queue, and I'm using these mechanics and the people, the staff, to see how high I have to build it. So that's one way to do it without having to open your park. So using different types of rocks, and everything in the queue that's surrounded by rocks is going to be underground, and everything outside of the rocks will show towards your end of the screen will be above ground. That was the idea. So after doing that, this is what it looks like. Then the next thing to do was deleting some of the pathing that was already there from the queue and rewriting it or redoing it. And I've increased the height of some of the pathing areas because I wanted to add some scenery to it and put some rocks on the ground. This is what it looks like. Now that the path is slightly higher, I could put these rocks down. Before I couldn't fit them in because the pathing was straight on the ground. I also added a rail to the pathing like this. Ta-da! Then I needed some queue entertainment, so I made this little pedestal from stone and put down a mouse. And I had a cool idea of the mouse warning the people that are about to go on the coaster, warning that the humans have been placing traps down again. So I thought it would be a fun idea to do that. So I want to make this mouse stand out from his pile of seeds, and then I sunk in some of the hay bales so to create a nice little mouse-friendly environment, I guess. So after sinking in some of the hay bales, I also put down a screen. I gave the mouse a little pointy indicator stick. And here's pointing at the screen. And on the screen I wrote, the humans have been placing down traps again, so watch out. Pretty much the mouse warning the guests of the traps that lay ahead. So, yeah. Then I started working on the entry station. I put down some flooring for the people to walk on, better than this basic floor that you have. And then I sunk in some rocks because I still wanted to give the impression that you're underground. And underground, in the mouse hole, nothing looks polished. So I needed rocks to poke out here and there. Then I put down some fences so they couldn't run on the track or something, you know. They might have suicidal guests that run in front of a coaster, but... Then I built a cool table. And I wanted there to be a little piece where mice sit at the table eating cheese. That's just for people to look at while they're waiting. Just so that the queue isn't so boring. So yeah, this is what it turned out to look like. I also made a mouse emergency exit and a food pile. Now that I've laid a pretty good base, meaning a good station and some idea of what the queue was going to look like, I started building on the coaster. And the first idea I had was introducing the coaster to the little mouse family that lives in the mouse hole. So I have a little right-hander as you come out of the station, and I wanted it to be a little bedroom area there. Obviously this is all going to be underground, so I surrounded it with rocks, sank some rocks in so it still looks like it is underground. Then I put it down some bedding. This is where the mice were going to sleep in, because this is their bedroom. So you make me put down some mice, and I changed their body positions a little bit, so looks like the tail is just laying on top of them instead of around. Yeah, this is what the bedroom looks like. Well, almost finished, but for now. And then I made a custom bedroom door. This door was going to open automatically as you approach it. So these animation pieces that you see me putting down here, they're so handy for animating basic things like doors or traps, which you'll see later on as well. It's super handy, and I have a cool idea of which is something I will be working on in the future. A door or trap pack. So having a blueprint full with trap doors and hidden entrances and all that sort of stuff for things that you can use for your rides. So I'll work on that in the future. But for now, I'm working on this bedroom door. And as you can get a basic idea of what it looks like. So this is the end result. And it opens and closes, as you can see. Then I did a little bit of pimp my bedroom. The bedroom really needed to be enhanced so that it looks a little bit more nicer. So I thought I'm using one of those mice that are on the ground there, and I'm putting them into this matchbox. So it's found a matchbox and it's sleeping in there. So I put down the matchbox and then take the head of a mouse, place it in there, make the eyes gray so it looks like the eyes are closed, and then just put it down. And after the bedroom makeover, it looks like this. Here you see the zzz. I animated it so it pops up when the car comes by, and it's just an extra indication that the mouse is sleeping. It's just another use of those animation pieces. From the bedroom we'll hop into the storage room, and in the storage room there's going to be all sorts of stuff, but mainly hay and seed, the stuff that they eat, like a little rat or mouse granary or something like that. But to go from the bedroom to the storage room, I needed to have another door. So I copied the layout of the door to the bedroom, and I just adjusted it a little bit. So this is what it looks like. Then I had a cool idea of a match falling from the ceiling into the granary or the food storage room, and then the match lighting the whole place on fire, and then forcing the rats out of their hole to the surface, where obviously the traps are going to be waiting for them. But it was really hard to animate this match falling from the ceiling, because with the pieces that we have, it is really hard to make a match come down, in this case, come down and stay down for a little bit. As you can see, it's constantly on the move. You see? It's up, down, up, down, up, down. I want it to come down and stay down for a little bit. But that was very tricky. But I came up with a way that if you use two pistons and attach them to each other, one piston brings it down, and while it brings it up, the other one brings it down, so it looks like it's actually staying down for a lot longer. So here you see me playing around with this technique. If you have them sequenced properly, see, I'm putting two pistons on top of each other, one comes down, and while the other one comes up, the second one pulls it back down again. So it's on the ground a little longer than normally animated. Looks something like this. It will come down, stay down, and then come back up. You see? Down, up. Instead of going straight back up, it comes down and stays down for about a second before it goes back up. I've had a lot of requests of making an animation tutorial, so I'll work on that when I'm back from my holidays, because at the time of recording it is just a few days before Christmas. I will make it when I come back. Then I needed to place down some hay for the match to fall on, so that it all catches fire. So this is going to be the storage room, lots of hay, and I'll put down lots of seeds as well. So yeah, this is what it ended up looking like. I then put down some more hay bales, and put down some containers with seeds. I thought this definitely belongs in a storage room. And then obviously, because the match falls on hay, I needed to make a trigger sequence so that it looks like the whole place lights on fire. And then you'll have to see the mouse running out of all the holes and then running to the surface. So this is all still on the ground. I will cover it with rocks in the next episode. It was just getting the animations and working in the light, because it was very hard if I covered it all with rocks and it was all dark. So I did it this way. I cover it with rocks later on. Here are the mouse, and then I'll make it look like the mouse are running out. Some of them won't make it, unfortunately. This is what it looks like. I'll do this one in real time so that you can see the animations of the fire as well. This is probably the saddest part of my build. So, someone throws a match into the mouse hole. Everything lights on fire. The mouse are running out of the mouse hole. And as they run out on their only exit, the humans have put down traps. So I've got all these mouse traps there laid up, ready to go. And I unfortunately have to make this mouse look like he's caught in the trap. So yeah, I'm flattening his legs so he fits. Oh, this is horrible. So there's one on the left and one on the right. Unfortunately, they got caught as they make their way out. Right on the neck. And then I also had to, unfortunately, put down some blood spatters. Just, you know, you get the idea that they're not alive anymore. Poor mice. Oh well, there was plenty of them. I also made one lucky mouse being able to escape. So I put that one alive on top of the chain lift. I then started covering some of the parts with more rocks. And I worked a little bit on the coaster cars. They just look so much better this way. Look, it even has a little tail. It is so cute. I like it. So much better than the original car. Then I added some more details to the storage room. Then I had the huge job ahead of me of making all these parts, all these trap parts from the board game. Not sure if you've ever played the board game. It used to be one of my favorites. Pretty much all the parts of the traps on top of the board that you make as you play the board game. I was going to make them and then use them in this roller coaster to trap the mice that are escaping from the hole that's on fire. So the idea was of obviously lighting the mouse place on fire, the mouse will escape, run to the surface and run right into these traps. So it's like I said before, a bit of a storytelling board game roller coaster. So this is the first part of the trap, just 2 rotating gears. And the board game, you see them set up like this, and then there's a crank attached. So if you crank it, you charge a spring that then will set the next part in motion. The next part is a little board that, after being cranked, gets released and smacks a shoe on a stick. You'll see what I mean soon. This is actually what it looks like in the game, on the board game. So it's a little ball that goes down, goes to the right, and then has a little hexagon part on top And yeah, that just smacks to the shoe that you'll see me build as well. Here I'm building the shoe, and it's pretty much a blue boot on a yellow pole that gets hit by this red plate that I've just made. You can see it in the background in motion. It just flicks from the left to the right. So this blue boot is in place and just gets hit and flinks forward. It's nothing more than that, really. I don't know what else to say about it, but yeah, it's just a boot that gets hit by that little pole that I just made. So yeah. By the way, I'm using the new coaster support pieces. They can be shrunk down so much. So they're ideal for basic shape art. They're better than the actual basic shape art pieces. Here you can see the shoe in motion. And just imagine that red pedal in the back smacking to the back of this boot, and the boot flying in front, so it goes straight ahead. Now the next trap is simply a ball rolling down a set of stairs, pretty much. But again, it was so incredibly hard to animate this ball rolling down. So here you see me playing again with the double piston, and I simply wanted it to move from one side to the other, as well as rotating the way it's rolling. So I'm adding the ball here and then realize, oh no, wait, now it's not rotating. So I have to add a rotating piece to it as well. Twist it a little bit and then add the ball to that rotating piece. So now when it moves, it also rolls. Looks like this. So now that I have the animation, I just have to make it roll down like a gutter. I guess that's what you call it. A gutter from left to right, and then from right to left, then from left to right again, and then from right to left again. But I had an issue, because if I have to animate this in a way that it continuously rolls from left to right, I have to actually make it look like the ball goes down, and not that there's 3 different balls on the animated part. So I made these little containers, so it rolls from one side to the other, gets stuck into this container in the pause position, which is how I animated it. And then I have the next one roll down, so there's always only one ball visible, so it looks like the ball is just constantly rolling down instead of 3 different balls. You'll see what I mean. This is what it looks like after it's fully finished. And I made these gutters, so yeah, it was so tricky making this. But I think it worked out well. You can judge for yourself. So here I approach it, press play, and you see one ball just rolling down. Watch the ball. Obviously it has to reset so everything comes back up again, but I'll make sure that you don't see that when you're on the coaster. The next trap to make was the diver flying from a board onto a little basket, and the basket sets off the trap that eventually catches the mouse. I know I have to also make the bed stop trap. People that know the board game know what I'm talking about. I will make the bed stop trap after this one. I just was so excited to make this trap instead of the other one, so I built this one first. From the bed stop trap, a big marble falls down and lands on that platform on the right, that then flicks a diver upwards from the right to the left into a basket. So this animation I'm trying to make here is the diver. Well, in this case I use a little Planet Coaster statue because I just thought it works really well and it's fun. So this diver in the board game it's a diver. Here it's a statue. Dives from the right to the left into this cool bucket that I just painted yellow, because that's what it looks like in the game. It was just a matter of finding the right angles on how to make it looks like he's diving in the bucket. And then I had to make the actual net that catches the mouse, which was a pain in the ass. But that's fine, it worked out well. It's pretty much just one big pole with these little pieces poking out like a ladder. And the basket just rattles down from this ladder looking piece. So I'm building the pole with the ladder first. And then I had to come up with a way on how to animate a basket falling down. And again I had to work with these double piston pieces, because I didn't want the basket to come down and just come up instantly. So again, I had to theme it in a way, or program it in a way, so that it would come down and stay down for at least a second or two for the coaster to pass by. So I'm just programming here the basket animation, which was quite difficult, but I started to understand what I was working with. So I thought, what if I do it double? So I have a double piston, as you can see me placing down here. 2 pistons. Oh, it gets super complicated, but I will have to explain this in my animation tutorial at some point. But for now, we'll just skip past it and let's make the bucket. The basket. This is what the fully animated diver basket trap looks like. Obviously you see the diver and the basket go back up again, but I'll make sure you don't see that on the coaster. Now onto the bathtub trap, the last trap out of 5. It was so hard to make a bathtub. I'm just turning this black so it looks like there's a hole in it, because in the board game a big marble falls through it that falls onto the platform that launches the diver. So I'm just trying to come up with an idea on how to make this bloody bathtub. It's not going to look anything like the one on the board game, but I'm quite happy with the way it turned out. Animating this piece was by far the easiest. I just added one of those like big rails, like this one, and just let it drop down from up to down. When I actually start installing this in the game or in the coaster, I make sure that the rails is hidden by a tree so you don't actually see it. It's just to get an idea of how to make it. So this bathtub normally has another smaller bathtub above it, to which the ball falls through first, but I really couldn't make this work with the animation pieces that we have available on Planet Coaster 2, so I just made a little tap that pours water in the bathtub. I thought it would be really cool. Now I'm just making that little tap up there, just some different angles of support. This is supposed to be plumbing pipes. So yeah, here we go, installing the tap, making sure we've got a little rail there, and then some water. That looks quite nice, I have to say. This is the end result. By now you all must be sick of hearing my voice, so here is the right POV so far.
Nice.
Alright, after building this whole section, this is the end of episode 1 of the building. Just gonna walk you through everything and have a look at little things and, you know, talk about it. And then, yeah. So, I've imagined, obviously, everything that's within the rocks is going to be underground. So this roof will be extended up till here. So this will be underground. So this is going to be the little mouse hole, so where they live. And then on top of it will be above ground, and now obviously all the traps will come on top, on the sides and behind. And the coaster will just weave through the traps and trigger everything, and then the traps will try to catch the mouse. These are all the traps that we've made. They're not in the right order, but pretty much you crank the wheel. It makes this pedal swing, which hits it on the back of the boot. So the boot goes forwards, which kicks it to the ball, and then the ball starts rolling. And then the ball rolls against this contraption. Then it starts pouring water. Normally there's a ball coming from the top, but I couldn't animate another ball coming out of here, falling into the bathtub. But normally a ball would come here, fall into the bathtub, roll down, fall from the bathtub down on top of this little thing, which will launch this guy up into the basket, which will make this shake and sets off the trap that then falls down and then captures the mouse. So that's in the board game, that's how the trap goes. I don't think I forgot anything. I used to play this a lot as a child. Pretty confident this is the way the trap goes. So obviously this is all indoor, and then as soon as you get out here, you go outside and you see that all the traps are set up by the humans, which is kind of a storytelling board game idea, which is what I had in mind. So you enter through here, there will be a cool sign here saying mouse trap. And then here you enter the mouse hole, so this will be all outside. And the moment you go through here, it's gonna be inside. Just imagine there being fully engulfed in stone, and you won't be able to see the light. So I'll have to put some lights up. Here you've got, the humans have been placing traps again, watch out. And you've got these little seeds and stuff that they collected. Chunk of cheese, which is a very ugly chunk of cheese, but I might remake it at some point. I was not very happy with it. I couldn't think of anything else how to make a cheese. And then an apple core, just for decorations. And then you go up here, and you got some mouse eating the cheese with like little cheese crumbs. And then you go in here, and then obviously you get into your vehicular. There's a little food stash here, very cute. An emergency exit, which they need. And so this is what the little coaster car looks like. It looks a lot like the mouse that I've made. See? These are the mouse. This is your coaster car. Very nice. So you leave here, you go into the bedrooms, and then you see all the mouse sleeping, and one is sleeping in a matchbox. And there's like little mouse droppings everywhere, like poop. And you go around the corner, and then you go into the storage room. And then this is the storage room, and then you got all the seats here as well. And then you see a match fall down. That the idea is that a human has thrown this match in to set the place on fire and make all the mouse escape and go get out of the hole. That was the idea. So here you've got little like seats everywhere, and then all of this lights on fire. And then all the mouse wanting to escape and need emergency exit. So if you actually go through here, you go to the station. So you go through here, and then you go up, and then all the mouse start running upwards, and you see all the traps going off because the humans have put the traps there. And then some mouse obviously make it out, and then you realize, oh fuck, this is actually a game. And then you walk right into like these traps that I've built. And these traps will be like up here, they will be here, down here, up here. Obviously they will all like trigger each other, like in the correct order, but probably a little bit spread out. So instead of, you know, the shoe kicks this thing that then hits, or this thing hits the shoe, and the shoe hits then this thing, and then the ball starts rolling, and the ball starts rolling here, but it might also roll like along a line along the coaster track, and then eventually it will hit the bathtub, you know, and then this marble falls down, and something else might have happened that then launches something that will launch onto here, and then this guy, you know. So it's not going to be direct, probably, but spread around the coaster. Or I'm gonna make some other handmade traps, which I've got some cool ideas. These are like these mouse traps that look so good. They look so realistic, because this is actually how the mouse trap works. Obviously the blood's not very nice, but it's fun. So imagine like trees and stuff being this fully covered in stone, and then trees on top of this, and you won't even notice that there's a whole ride underneath. That's kind of the idea. So I'm using a lot of the flat stones. So the coaster goes ahead, blah blah blah, blah, and then you go end up here, and then you go. This is the exit where you get off the train. So you just walk down here. You're still on the ground, and here you're not on the ground anymore. This is like a cut-off point. And then as you step out, I made a little tiny hole for the train to come through, and then it just goes around the corner here. And this is where people get on again for the next ride. And so this hole is like super tiny, and it only fits the little car that we made. So yeah, that's kind of the idea. I hope you all enjoyed this video. I'm very excited to continue in episode 2 and place down all the traps and theme everything and make it all come together. Let's double check and see how many pieces we have. I think this would be about 1,000 pieces or something like that. 1,002, so a little bit higher than I hoped, because these traps together are like 500 pieces. So that's 2,000 pieces already. So we're like halfway through, and I'm not even like not even themed the coaster, but I've made all the main scenery pieces, which is good. And I can save some pieces by, you know, deleting some of these seeds and all that sort of stuff, and being more efficient with parts. So I'm not too worried. It's all gonna work out well. So yeah, thank you all so much for watching. Please leave a like and a comment if you like it, and subscribe to my channel for episode 2. Make sure you don't miss anything. And yeah, thank you all for watching, and I'll see you in the next episode. Bye bye.